Championship presented by FMF. Thank you guys for spending your Easter weekend with us. We could not ask for better weather today and a really, really fun course.
It was actually really fun. I got the whole shot and I did almost lose it on the second corner, but I didn't, so that was good. And I think that paid off a lot, just not being in the dust where it was so fast and there was like a lot of loose rocks. But I was just trying to ride my own race and I had a lot of fun out there. I think it was super sick. It was a little bit less whoopy than last year. Like there was still a lot of whoops, but they weren't as big, so it was super fun. I think they put on a good course. That was actually really fun going through there. It actually had like a bit of a flow to it, so it was actually kind of sick. And then you're like going through all like the big boulders and everything. It was cool.
I was in fourth, and then I was just following Ty and Ava. Ava had her little mishap, which she's pretty good from is what I heard, and just tried to stay in front of everyone else and just keep going. No crashes, so that always helps.
It started out a lot better than I expected, and I was like, man, we actually might be able to put up a good fight today.
We got off to a second place start, and Mateo was riding really good there on that first lap, and I knew kind of with how dusty it was going to be that I should probably at least kind of get a feel for things before I try and make any passes in the dust.
We got off to a good start, bike fired quick, and I knew once I got going that I had to put a gap on him. And with the dust being so bad, I was able to do that. So after the first lap, I believe I had like 40 seconds on second. I had a couple little mistakes. Passing lappers was a little bit difficult on this track.
The dust was pretty bad, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't horrible, but there was certain spots. And in a situation like that, I feel like you kind of have to use the first lap to see which sections are worse than others. So, you know, you might go in a section and there's hardly any dust, and then you go into the next one, it's horrible, right? So you learn that from the first lap, and then the second lap, you know, okay, this is the time I got to get close and make it happen before we get to that point. Yeah, kind of just gauging things out, and he was riding well, so.
Starting lap 3, I got to like the more choppier stuff, and it's not like it was like a pain thing. It's just I had no more grip strength in my hand. Last Sunday I ended up breaking the metacarpal on the right behind my knuckle and going in for surgery tomorrow at 11, checking in. So get a pin in this bad boy, and then we should be good to go by gun hill.
After the start, I let them get away a little bit so I could try to set my own pace, and then I couldn't figure it out. I felt like a fish out of water for the first 2 laps. And then once I got through the pits, I think I let my heart rate come down and kind of loosened up my arm pump, and after that I was able to drop like 1.5 minutes on my lap times and then just drop consistently. So I was happy with that, but I just wish I could hold that throughout the whole race and keep that high intensity.
I don't know if it was actually moisture, but it kind of felt like it in some of the climbs where actually the dirt was really good. But the skatier stuff, the stuff that's like more on a mound, like rock slab, like that stuff is slick, and that'll get you out pretty quick. So
he bull shotted and it was kind of just gone, and I was probably 4th going into the straightaway after the first turn, and made the pass on Jaden, and then it took me a while to get by Colton, and then by the time I got by Colton, Cole was he had a minute on me at least, and I try to make up that time difference, but this track honestly there wasn't too much to separate us, because it was pretty fast, and yeah, I had a small crash on lap 3, and I just lost sight of him and lost that kind of mental fire to keep trying to push and go get him.
This place was surprisingly slick. I didn't expect the dirt to be so slippery here. It's like kind of like a decomposed granite, real marbly sort of feeling. So first lap, I got a good start. I was right behind Cole, but just dropped back a little bit from the dust from him. And Tomaselli was right on me. Made a little mistake. He got by me. Couldn't see in the dust. Clipped a big rock. Ended up crashing and let Donners get by me. So then I was in 4th for the first like 2 laps, just eating Donner's dust. I started off strong. I was in 3rd and really I was controlling it pretty well, and then had some bad luck. Sagebrush picked up into my rear brake, and I lost my brakes going into lap 3. Not much I could do about it. You know, I wasn't competitive anymore, so I let Colton by, and then tried to work on it in the pits, but it really just got worse throughout the day. So live to fight another day.
Got by him pretty early on the second lap there. I know he was dealing with some issues, so he was riding phenomenal considering that, to be honest. Yeah, once I got by him, just tried to make a little push there, and then once I got a good gap, I kind of just rode my pace, and yeah, it was a good day. So, in races like this, I actually really enjoyed the terrain, so the fun factor kind of keeps you focused, you know, because you're just like, oh, I shredded that corner, or, you know, I'm skimming these whoops super well, or whatever it is. So that's kind of what it is. You just, if you enjoy the riding, then it makes it easy to, you know, stay in the zone.
I like the scenery, honestly. Sometimes I should be looking where I'm going, and I'm just going and I'm looking at the scenery. So I need to focus it a little bit, but that section was cool. I like where it just gets tight and I can kind of just either have to throw a foot down or pivot the bike a little bit, but I like that stuff, so it's all fun.
I couldn't grip anymore as hard as I wanted to, and then I'm going slower. I'm hitting the bumps more with my hand, and it was just, yeah, I was getting squirrely, and I didn't have the pace to keep on going. So I just salvaged around, rode around, went back to the original plan, and but even with, I think, the gap the first lap, I think Zane was riding smart, and he knew it was going to be a long 3 hours, and he didn't want to sit in the dust, so he played that really well, and yeah, but the hand got me.
We were kind of battling times, like we would pass each other like at a certain part of the track, or I could see his dust coming, but towards the last 2 laps I didn't see him. He definitely kept me honest a little bit. I could see him and I'm like, This is a long race, anything can happen, I need to keep going. So the last lap I was just like, come on, hold together. I haven't been in the position to win on the last lap before, so it was just everything I could to keep my head in it, not cross the checkers mentally before I actually did physically. So there was one section where I was passing a lap on the last lap, went off track, and I figured I could kind of jam it through the bushes, and there was just a massive log, and I smashed it with my front wheel, almost OTB. But other than that, it was a pretty smooth last lap. I was ready for it to be over, that's for sure.
It was a solid day. It's a little frustrating. I wanted to win, but you know, it was a good ride. I feel like I was smart, made up some points on the guys behind me, and now I'm closer to the overall points lead, which is really cool. I didn't think I'd be in this position this year, but hey, we're here. And yeah, it was a solid day.
I passed Honors at the end of the second lap, and then Leighton got by him right around the same time. Leighton kept me honest. He was maybe 10 or 15 seconds back the whole rest of the race. Felt bad for him, man. He ate dust the whole time. There was a couple times where I got hung up with some lappers. Like there was a really steep uphill in the back, and you're kind of in a rut going all the way up. And I was just stuck behind a lapper, taking his time going up, and Leighton got right up on my wheel there, so I had to like really make sure and drop the hammer when I got past the lapper, make some dust so I could get a little bit of a gap. But yeah, Leighton rode really good. I'm super impressed how fast he was able to go in the dust.
Caught up to Colton and probably followed him for about, I don't know, 4 laps straight. You know, I'd catch him, it was like a yo-yo effect. Right when I'd catch him, the dust was so bad I couldn't get by him, so definitely feel like my speed was good. Just couldn't get by anyone, and to be honest, wasn't going to risk it. So overall, not the best, but happy to come out in one piece.
You know, the dust is, you can't do much about it. We're here in April, but even if we were here in March, it probably would have snowed on us. So you get that fine line of a gamble of when to put on an event, and it's really hard to judge that line sometimes. I enjoyed when we got up on the ridges and started kind of zigzagging into the single tracky stuff. Yeah, it was a little bit better up there, but by the time the sun got above us, it was gone.